What is up? This is your LA in a minute, and I'm here in Downey at Chris and Pitt's Barbecue, which was the barbecue king of Los Angeles for almost 8 decades with 15 locations throughout the Southland. Today, however, only 2 remain. So what happened to Chris and Pitt's Barbecue? Let's get into it. Chris and Pitt's opened in 1949 at this location on Lakewood Boulevard, which was a defunct dry cleaner. It was the brainchild of Chris Polonis, who had a dream that he would open up the world's best barbecue place. So with a $2,000 loan from his dad, a Greek immigrant, as well as business partner Maurice Pittman, they opened up that barbecue joint, Chris and Pitt's. But even prior to that, Polonis' story goes back to 1940. That's when he opened his first restaurant. It was a spot not far from where the original Chris and Pitt's would open up, with sawdust on the floor, wooden chairs, and the irresistible aroma of barbecue wafting through the air. And around that same time, Maurice Pittman was honing his barbecue chops with 2 restaurants, one in Bell and one in Southgate. But this was during World War II, and the restaurants of both Pittman and Polonis had trouble due to wartime rationing, and each restaurant went defunct. Luckily, through fate, they met, received that loan, and opened that first Chris and Pitt's. The combination was a smash hit, and within a year, they opened multiple locations. One was run by Polonis and his wife, and the other location was owned by Pittman and his wife, Ella Lee, who would go on to play a major role in the business. Just like today, it's the Chris and Pitt's sauce that really drives customers. The sauce was initially bottled at home, and both Polonis and Pittman would go on radio, TV, anywhere they could to promote their barbecue sauce. At the time, the only real barbecue sauce you could get in stores was from Kraft, and well, that was pretty generic. As Pittman and Polonis went on and worked the expanding restaurant chain, it was Ella Lee who really went into overdrive selling the sauce. The sauce became so popular they opened a commissary just to make the sauce, and it became the #1 selling barbecue sauce in the nation. Business was booming, and Chris and Pitt's kept on expanding. By the late 1950s, it became the most popular barbecue restaurant in Los Angeles. By 1963, as Chris and Pitt's had almost 10 locations, Pittman wanted to retire and travel with his family, especially Ella Lee, so he sold his share of the business to Polonis. But Chris and Pitt's kept right on growing with 15 locations. Even though one was number 16, they skipped number 13 for fear of bad luck. And Polonis stewarded the restaurant through the next few decades as LA's barbecue leader. And even though he eventually sold the recipe for the sauce, the original deal still continues to be served in the remaining 2 restaurants. Polonis unfortunately passed away in 2018. Though challenges like increased competition and especially COVID hampered the restaurant, there are still 2 locations left, both run by the Polonis family, and it's definitely the genuine article. So Chris and Pitt's used to be the barbecue king of Los Angeles with 15 locations throughout the Southland. Today, there are only 2, but their barbecue, still excellent. All right, LA, it's been a minute.